Billionaire catches single dad janitor in the act. And can't believe what she sees. Intro hook. What if the most powerful act of kindness you ever witnessed happened in a place where nobody was supposed to be watching? What if the person doing it had every reason in the world to be bitter, exhausted, and broken, but chose love anyway? This is a story that will make you stop, put your hand over your heart, and remind you why humanity is still worth believing in. Because sometimes, the people with the least to give are the ones giving the most. And sometimes, it takes a billionaire looking through a window at 2 in the morning to be reminded of what truly matters in this world. Subscribe call out. Before we dive in, if stories like this one move you, inspire you, or restore your faith in people, we'd love for you to subscribe to Heartfelt Moments right now. Hit that like button, drop a comment below telling us about a time someone's kindness surprised you, and let's build a community that believes in the good still alive in this world. Now, let's get into the story. Main story. Marcus Webb was 41 years old, and if you looked at him on paper, the world hadn't been particularly generous. He worked the overnight janitorial shift at Hargrove Tower, one of the tallest office buildings in downtown Chicago. His shoes were worn down at the heel. His uniform had been washed so many times the navy blue had faded to something closer to gray. He drove a 2009 Honda Civic with a cracked dashboard and a heater that only worked on the passenger side. But Marcus also had a daughter named Lily. She was 7, and she had her mother's eyes, wide and curious and full of light. Her mother had passed away 2 years earlier from an illness that came fast and left faster, and since that day, Marcus had been everything. Father, mother, chef, homework helper, bedtime storyteller, and braid attempt maker, even though the braids never quite came out right. Lily always said they were beautiful anyway. Every night, Marcus dropped Lily off at his sister's apartment across town before heading to work. Every morning, he picked her up before school. He ran on 4 hours of sleep and gas station coffee, but he never complained. Not once. He just kept moving, kept working, kept showing up, because that's what Lily needed. And Lily was everything. What Marcus didn't know was that the building he cleaned every night was owned by a woman named Sandra Hargrove. Sandra was 56, sharp as a blade, and had built her real estate empire from a single rental property she'd bought with money she saved working double shifts as a waitress in her 20s. She was not soft. She was not sentimental. She had a reputation for being fair but firm, and she did not tolerate waste, not of time, not of money, not of potential. On a Tuesday night in late November, Sandra returned to Hargrove Tower just past midnight to retrieve a folder she'd left on her desk before an early morning flight. She badged through the lobby, stepped into the elevator, and as she passed the 14th floor on her way down after getting the folder, she noticed something through the glass partition of the open office floor. She stopped. She stepped closer. Marcus was sitting cross-legged on the freshly mopped floor in the break room, his cleaning cart pushed to the side. He had his phone propped against a coffee mug, and he was video calling someone. And from where Sandra stood, she could see the screen clearly. It was a little girl in pink pajamas, holding a stuffed rabbit, rubbing one eye with her fist. "Daddy, I can't sleep," the little girl said. "I know, baby," Marcus said softly. "Want me to tell you the one about the brave little star?" The girl nodded, pulling the rabbit tighter. And, right there, on the floor of a corporate break room at 12:30 in the morning, Marcus Webb began telling his daughter a bedtime story. His voice was low and gentle and full of warmth, and he did all the voices: the star, the moon, the wise old owl who lived on the edge of the sky. He made Lily laugh once, softly, and then her eyes started to droop. He kept talking quietly until her breathing slowed and her head tilted to the side. "Sweet dreams, my girl," he whispered. "Daddy loves you to the moon and every star behind it." He stayed on the call for another minute, just watching her sleep. Then he quietly ended the call, stood up, tucked his phone into his pocket, and picked up his mop. Sandra Hargrove stood in that hallway for a long moment. Her hand was pressed flat against the glass. And for the first time in a very long time, the woman who never cried felt her eyes fill with tears. She didn't interrupt him that night. She didn't say a word. But the next morning, before her flight, She left an envelope at the front desk addressed to the overnight janitorial staff member on the 14th floor. Inside was a letter, a check that would cover 6 months of rent, and a note that said, "I saw what you did last night. Not the mopping, the other thing. The world needs more fathers like you. Don't stop." When Marcus opened that envelope later that day, he sat in his car in the parking lot of his sister's building and wept. Not from sadness, from the overwhelming, unexpected feeling of being seen. Closing. Kindness doesn't always come wrapped up neatly. Sometimes it comes through a window at midnight, when nobody thinks anyone is watching. Sometimes it's a story told to a sleepy little girl 1,000 miles away from perfect circumstances. And sometimes, it's a powerful woman who pauses long enough to recognize something rare, and chooses to honor it. You don't have to be a billionaire to do what Sandra did. You just have to be willing to stop, to look, and to act. Because somewhere near you, right now, there is a Marcus doing something beautiful in the quiet. The only question is whether you'll notice. Be the one who notices. Be the one who acts. And never, ever underestimate the power of a single, simple act of kindness to change someone's entire world.